How you doing here? What do we got? I'm losing track of the days here. It's Wednesday, October the 23rd, 2024. How's everybody doing? Yeah. Sorry to relay the sad news of my great moderator and Sarah Harwood and many other things. She was a great mother. She survived by her son there. And you know, I feel like such a dope here. You know, I should have found out and let everybody know sooner, so people could have, you know, maybe even sent flowers to her funeral. I knew something was wrong. Hey, John James, how's it going here? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, we're still in Fayetteville here. I found this nature walk. I figured this would be a good way for us to. Sarah did appreciate nature and animals. She supported that wildlife refuge in Africa, and I still donate some of the proceeds and on her behalf. You know, we've been doing it for over a year now. She supports you know, the live streamer there from Africa, and her lions, and she always would watch the lions there. Yeah, it's been a sad day. Thanks, Bob. Thanks for tuning in. Paula, John James, Lisa, Paula, Chanel. Yeah, peace with Sarah there. And Chris, yeah, love to Sarah. Thanks, everybody. Mary Therese. Thanks, Mary Therese. Mary Therese actually, you know, we knew something was up. Thanks, Mary Therese, for, you know, relaying the news. I was afraid to search because, you know, I haven't heard from Sarah in a while, and we know, you know, many people didn't realize she's been dealing with health issues as long as I've known her. She survived many near-death experiences. Look at this bamboo. They got some bamboo. She told me stories of, you know, earlier, like last year or the year before. She was airlifted to the hospital. She had other scares, and but she always would come back, and you know, she moderated multiple accounts, and towards the end she limited it to just a few. I was so honored that she still did the poll. She would do the poll. She didn't want me going to sub only, and you know, I didn't want her to feel like any obligation to moderate, but I think she wanted to. You know, here, look, 1793 Fayetteville Independent Light Infantry. I don't know what this is about. I don't know. Let's see. This is from the Revolutionary War, and they got, look, Revolutionary War soldier here, Isaac Hammond, our comrade, Revolutionary soldier officer, 1797. So these are people that are, I think they fought Spanish-American War. You know, they got some World War I monuments here, you know, and so, you know, let's go on this little, there's supposedly a path here that goes underneath this bridge, and if I can find this nature walk, let's take a little walk here. I'm missing people's comment. Oh, Chris, yeah, Sarah Rubb's elbow. She knew some really TikTok famous people, and that's why I was so honored that she spent so much time helping all us out. And Chris knows, and Mary Therese from the moderator team. I got to figure out how to connect with this path here. I've never been here before. There's a path. The reason I parked here, see, I parked here, there's like a little nature walk that goes along this creek, and if I can find out where the path goes here, we can connect with it. Okay, it's across the street here, so I need to go up this way. Okay, so we'll go by this church up here. We need to head up this way. Let me see if I'm in the right place here. Hold on a second here. I'm lost. I'm lost in Fayetteville. Yeah, we'll connect with this path up this way. This is this nature walk here. It goes along this little creek here. But yeah, she knew some rock stars. She knew like Twisted Sister. She knew like the big hair bands, you know, like Aerosmith, and I think she partied hard in the 70s and 80s, and rubbed some shoulders. She would, like, sometimes I would like reference a song or reference a band, and she's like, yeah, I partied with them. She's like, I know Dee Snider. I was like, really? It's like a, you know, it's amazing. And Christopher, how you doing there? Taco, Patrick, Nelios, yeah. So if you don't know, you know, I didn't know there's no good way. TJ, how you doing there, Patrick? And yeah, TJ, yeah, I did a sub only live there, and thanks for understanding there. I'm glad you can comment here on the YouTube. I'll go back to doing. I talked to Mary Therese about it. I'll go back to doing open chats there. I'll rely on my moderators, and Sarah's gonna be quite a void to fill, but we might add some few new moderators just so my moderators do such a great job, and I always support my moderators, but I want to don't want it to become a burden on anybody. And here, Evans Metropolitan AME African Methodist Episcopal. See, there's an AME church in Chicago. This is Evans Metropolitan African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church here, right here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. That's great. Let's see if we can find this path. I think does it go through the cemetery? I don't mean to walk through a cemetery. I just want to get to this nature path here, and I think this is the way to do it. Yeah, it looks like it comes right off the back of the cemetery here. So, can I get there? Yeah, we'll head across here. There's a church here. Well, see, TJ, this is why I know it's hard for you to understand unless you live stream yourself. Every time I'm very paranoid of the internet. I'm paranoid about divulging information. People ask questions, you know, and I plan on going to a different city tomorrow. I'm going to take the Amtrak, so I won't be here, but I'll be back. I'll be back to Fayetteville, don't worry. And I like this town a lot. And I'm doing some business here. I don't want to divulge it. And the reason I do sub-only live sometimes is people ask. It's amazing. Sometimes it'll become your conscious. People ask questions like, why aren't you married? Why aren't you have a girlfriend? Why do you live stream so much? And it makes you question your whole existence, because it's like you're conscious, like the same questions you asked yourself, but it's other people bringing up like things. And, you know, for me, a sensitive, overly paranoid person, sometimes I don't like answering every question that people ask, and then people get angry. Why aren't you answering my questions? And so, you know, I know that's the purpose of live stream, but mostly we talk about history. I'm dealing with earlier this month, one of my great moderators that led my whole moderator team. She passed away, and we just found about it like much later than we should have. And I feel bad of not, you know, being closer in touch with her family. I didn't realize how bad things were going for her. And she, you know, Sarah's been dealing with health issues for a long time. And sadly, she finally succumbed to everything. And so she will be missed. I want to dedicate this live stream to her. And that's why I want to find this nature walk. I want to take a break from work and just kind of passively chill with my mods and people here on the lunch bunch. Look at here, George C. Hall, 1834. This is a really old cemetery, and some really, you get on the East Coast, like if you ever go to Boston cemeteries or Philadelphia cemeteries, you see people going back to the 1600s, you know, and I expect there's a few graves that go to the 1700s. But you know this area better than I do. Is this nature path, is this any good? I'm just gonna try to check out this nature path there. Oh yeah, if we can come across the dog park. Yeah, Sarah loved animals. She loved the dog. She loved every time I would go through a dog park or Washington Square with all the dogs. Yeah, if we could just we'll all tell about our Sarah memories, and we won't forget her and want to honor her. Hopefully the memorial, yeah, you know, social media is so weird. I dealt with it when my mom passed, and that was 13 years ago, 2011. And again, Facebook at that time, we did not know what to do with her page. You know, she had a Facebook page. People were still messaging her, and they didn't realize that she was gone, you know. And same with Sarah. You know, we were sending her messages and she wasn't responding. And even though, you know, parasocial relationships, I never met Sarah in person. And some of my moderators, like Chris and others, I have met in person. And same with the fans. But yeah, I felt as close with Sarah as I felt with anybody, and we never met in person, but that's what social media allows. And we kind of, you know, hit it off there, which is good. And I really appreciate a lot of people connected with her as well. She had to be the tough person to lay down the law and bounce people, so she got a lot of flack for it. She was willing to take it because she could be my bouncer, you know. And isn't it amazing? You know, people will get so angry, and here is Sarah, this, you know, she was pretty much in a wheelchair, and this nice, meek, very respectful woman, you know, they would be afraid of her, which is great. You know, she had the power to kick them out of lives, which is good. And not that she wanted to abuse it, you know, and she had to deal with people coming after her, you know, for little old me. But she moderated for other people, much larger, famous TikTok people that had like hundreds and thousands of followers, and those people would tell people off too, and they had no problem bouncing people from their lives. So that's why Sarah was a great, I learned a lot from her, and we'll remember the lesson she taught me about social media here. Yeah, it's shocking there. Yeah, we all were wondering where she was at, Roxanne, and I feel bad that I was, you know, this summer after Chris and Brandon and I went to the Railway Museum out there in Union, I was having technical difficulties with my TikTok. I couldn't live stream on TikTok. I had to switch to YouTube when we were at the Railroad Museum, and I was so frustrated. And it wasn't with my moderators, it was frustrated with the technical difficulties I was having with TikTok. And she was on the live, and I was frustrated, and I was like, I'm getting off TikTok. Well, she took me seriously, and I didn't realize why she got so emotional. This is back in the middle of July. And she goes, I didn't get to tell everybody goodbye. And I felt so bad after she told me that, because here I was, a typical selfish man, just thinking about myself, and I don't realize everything I do on these accounts affects other people. People have a community here. You have friends, and that's why I became, you know, when we lost the original account, we lost that community. We rebuilt it back. Same with Sarah. And a little bit of me, I was like, does she think that she's nearing the end of her life, the way she was talking? And I was like, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to think. We're going to stay positive. She's, you know, done that before. If you just join her in Fayetteville, we're on this little nature boardwalk by this river. We're over by the PD River. I think this is a tributary of the PD River. And PD River is much larger than this creek. But there's some like city Department of Public Works facilities here. And yeah, our hearts are hurting. We feel for Sarah. Survived. She had a son. I'll get you the name of her son. It's in the obituary there if you go to the webpage. Unfortunately, they were last year. Her son's wife passed away. She was a nurse, and so they were dealing with that last year. I'm talking about Sarah Harwood's family and her son. She survived by her son. I think her parents are already gone, of course, and I don't know if she had any siblings. But Sarah lived in Oklahoma there, and she went to Will Rogers High School. I vaguely remember this, like almost a year and a half ago when I first met Sarah. She was like, I was talking about the mixed blood Cherokees and Will Rogers, how he was part of the Cherokee Nation, and most people don't realize that because, like me, he looks just like a white guy. He doesn't look like a stereotypical indigenous Native American, what you would imagine. You know, he just looks like because the mixed bloods were mixed with European heavily, maybe mixed with Melungeons, we don't know. And it happened so long ago, early in the colonial history. And so she goes, I went to Will Rogers High School, and I remember that. And that's kind of how, you know, Sarah and I first met there. And because Oklahoma, of course, used to be Indian territory, I have ancestors that are buried there when it was Indian territory, and now they're just distant because it happened so long ago in my past that I always say, like, if you got Bowles, John Bowles, you know, there was a Cherokee chief named Diwali. He was named John Bowles. He died in Texas. You can look it up there. I'm sure I'm saying his name wrong in Cherokee. I don't speak Cherokee, but I always tell people, if you had one ancestor that fought in the Revolutionary War, wouldn't you remember that ancestor? People are like, yeah, I'll be proud of him. I'm like, I got like 6 or 7 that fought in the Revolutionary War. I'm proud of all of them. You know, like most of them were poor hillbillies that lived in Appalachia, or the Shenandoah Valley, or North Carolina, but I said, if you had one Native American ancestor, wouldn't you be proud of that? Yeah. I'm like, I have several, and I'm a white guy. You know, I didn't grow up on a reservation. I'm going to deny my ancestry. You know, I have Melungeon ancestors that could have been part African American too. I'm not black, but I'm not going to deny my ancestry. It's in my DNA. Here, Linear Park. Here's where we're at here. Fayetteville, Cumberland. And why would I make it up? You know, people are like, you're just making it up. Like, no one gives a crap about my ancestry. It only matters to me. Here, you are here. Look how this boardwalk goes all the way to Cape Fear River. Oh, I was saying it wrong. Cape Fear River, not the PD River. To Cape Fear River. I'm wrong. Linear Park. Cross Creek. So this is called Cross Creek. We're here. Here's downtown. Downtown Fayetteville's down here. See, we can take this all the way back in here. So I'll go here. I'll go around this loop. I'll go to this overlook, and then we'll go back. And there's like a big botanical garden over here. If I got more time, we'll be back. We'll check out the botanical garden. Let's go to this overlook here. But yeah, we want to celebrate Sarah's life there. Remember her, and I know she touched many of your lives, and thanks. I'm missing all the comments here. Yeah, let's just make stuff up there, Patrick. Why would I make it up? You know, no one gives a crap about my ancestry. It only matters to me. But you know, everybody has their own. Like I said, if you have one ancestor that fought in the Revolutionary War, be proud of that. You know, if you got one ancestor that's Native American, you should be proud of that, not deny it. And it doesn't mean it's, you know, doesn't mean I have special privileges or have a CDIB card. No, you know, my ancestors assimilated because they really had no choice. They lived with the Melungeons and married white people. You know, some of the Melungeons married black people, and it's just the way it was back then. Here, look at the nice. Hey, we're walking through the woods here. Look at that nice creek here. Well, what does it have to do with Sarah? Sarah's lived in Oklahoma, Indian Territory, big part of American history. They wanted to make Indian Territory a state. They wanted to call it Sequoia after the Cherokee man who developed the syllabary. The independently he came up with a writing system for the Cherokee language, which is Iroquoian. And or it's mixed. It's mixed, has a bunch of Creek words in it, Muskogee Creek words mixed with Iroquois and Cherokee, and he created the syllabary, which is still used to this day. If you go to the Georgia Braves Stadium, you can buy Atlanta Braves MLB merchandise written in Cherokee syllabary created by Sequoia, but they wanted to make Oklahoma a state called Sequoia. Well, that didn't happen. It became Oklahoma, and we got the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical Oklahoma about all the territory folks got to stick together. I'm like, where are the Indians in the musical? You know, it was Indian territory. That's why they had to stick together, because there was a bunch of Indians still there. Hey, how's it going there, Dolores? Yeah, Sarah will be missed. Sorry to break the bad news to everybody. Lambie T. Thanks to everybody that responded on the memorial there for Sarah. I just, you know, no matter how I break the news, we got to let people know. And this happens. There's other people we've lost. You know, how do you deal with losing a friend or family member on social media? I encountered people that they would have birds that were part of their, people have dogs and pets that are part of their social media accounts. Actually, a lot of people's social media accounts, that's all it is their pet. And then the pet eventually dies. And then how do you memorialize that pet? Through the social media account. It was a woman, her little bird, it was like a parakeet. It was very charismatic. It was a big part of her TikTok, and the parakeet died. And she was beside herself because then, what did she do? Get another parakeet and start another one, or continue the same one? How do you keep it going? Animals, we usually outlive our animals. And here it is. I guess this is the overlook. Here, welcome to Fayetteville. We're walking through the woods here, grieving the loss of our friend Sarah Harwood, the great moderator and friend. And hopefully, maybe one day I'll get to meet her son and let him know how much she meant to all of us, that she touched so many lives. Yeah, there's like a big rock face over here. I guess it probably looks better in wintertime. It's just kind of like a ravine here. A nice pine forest here. Thanks, Lambie T. Yeah, no, that's why we gotta talk about it, because it's part of American history. I'm honored that there are people that are friends and tune into this that are real card carrying we have CDIB cards and part of indigenous nations. The blood quantum was imposed on them by the U.S. government, and there's people that opted out of that system, that got cut out of all the rights that were reserved for Native Americans. That's why it's called a reservation. They reserved the right, and I had to learn that. I learned so many bad things through history the wrong way. Researched it when I got older, figured out a lot of missing pieces of history that weren't taught to us and how we think about it now. But here's some waterfalls here. So what time we got? We got 1:53. How far do I want to go down this path here? Oh, it's beautiful weather there. Yeah, Lisa, thanks for, I know she followed Marty. I think she related with Marty because, Marty Mayo with a great live streamer from New York City. And it's hard, when you're Marty, you got 100,000. Marty literally has 100,000 followers, even moderators. I like Mary Therese. I've known Mary Therese has been a moderator on TikTok for me for like eight or 9 months. And she, you've been on the Lunch Bunch here for longer, and you might have been watching on my original account. I knew that, and then I forgot that this morning because I was so grieved. And I was like, she's like, yeah, I mod for, I'm like, yeah, of course you do. I know you mod for TikTok. I lost track of it, but I know my moderators. Sarah related to Marty because he's going through his own health issues with his throat cancer. And other New York live streamers reached out to her, and some of them she wouldn't mod for because she didn't respect him, but she respected Marty. And listen to the sound of the birds here. We got this little wall here. I guess this path goes on and on. This is this path here, this nature walk here. What a beautiful day. We're enjoying this beautiful weather. So depending on if I go back and get my work done for the day and can wrap this up, I might be live streaming in Washington, D.C. tomorrow, but it depends on if I can catch this train and go back. But then people I work with, they're going to be like, don't take a day off work. But since Sarah passed, I'm going to seize the day. We're going to enjoy life. Here's this cemetery. There's a giant cemetery over here. Let's see if I can get a view of this cemetery here in North Carolina. We've streamed some cemeteries before. Chris remembers on my original account when I was walking through a cemetery in Brookville, Indiana, and we were talking about the Melungeons, and some people were tuning in with Melungeon Ancestry, and they're like, yeah, we're Melungeons too. I said, hey, that's great. And no one's really a Melungeon now. Melungeon's like an historical term. It's like something that existed for a brief period of time and then changed. Human ethnicity is very fluid. especially in America. People assimilate, change ethnicities, the intersectionality of relating to different groups there. Mozingo, right here. Chris, if you're watching right now, we can talk about the Melungeons. You see this surname right here, Mozingo. You can research this. I am not making this up. It's either, there's variations of it, Mazingo and Mozingo. You ever heard of Django? There was a African American in the 1600s that was an indentured servant with that last name. This is all research. If you research the Melungeons, and it might not be these people. They might just, because there are people that are related to the Mazingos that are. There's an Italian surname with Mozingo, and then there's other people that are just white without Melungeon ancestry. But there are some Melungeons with Mozingo. He married a white woman in the 1600s after he worked off his indentured servitude. This is before Bacon's Rebellion. If you research Bacon's Rebellion, that's where a lot of the laws in Virginia got changed. And regarding the free or slave status of people based upon their mother. Since his wife was white, the kids were considered free, but they had a hard time, especially the grandchildren, because of the one drop rule. And so a lot of them moved to the Appalachians. They spread to the hinterland, and there was a lot of people with Melungeon ancestry, proud Melungeon ancestry, that have that surname Mozingo. There's variations of it, and we find it here in North Carolina, where we have the Lost Colony in Roanoke. We have St. Helena in South Carolina. It was a Spanish colony. We got the Cape Fear Indians. We have the Roanoke Indians that became the Lumbees, that trace some of their ancestry back to the Lost Colony of Roanoke, even though they're indigenous. And there's African Americans that intermarried with them over the centuries and decades. And their DNA is very interesting. And they're recognized in the state of North Carolina as a true indigenous nation. I don't know about the federal recognition, because in the 50s and 60s, the United States government purposely consolidated and removed the federal recognition of many smaller tribes that they felt didn't qualify, which was their racist way they classified indigenous groups in the 1950s. And, don't get me started about that. And I know I have German American ancestors that benefited because it was easier for them to assimilate until the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant dominant culture that we're all supposed to assimilate to, or at least historically, when we call the melting pot of America. And other people, you realize it's not as easy as that. Not everybody can just blend to that. And we need to have multiculturalism and religious diversity. But hey, now I'm sounding like NPR, right? Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Fayetteville. We're just walking through the woods here. Thanks. This is therapy for me to be able to talk with my friends and fellow companions here as we mourn the loss of Sarah Harwood, our great moderator here. Thanks everybody for tuning in here. Yeah, it's a beautiful cemetery. Yeah, thanks Nelios and Mary Therese and Lisa. Life is scary. Yeah, we all have anxiety. We all have anxiety, and after we all survived the pandemic, I think the anxiety remains. We all realize how short life can be. We've all had an existential threat. Look, Sarah survived the pandemic. She had health issues too, and at least she made it to 2024 here. And here, let's walk up this overlook here. Yeah, don't fear the reaper, just like the Blue Oyster Cult song there. It's life and death is a part of life. My mother passed. It never, you think it becomes easier, and then every once in a while you think about it, and I cried a little bit this morning, especially when I had to make the memorial there. So thanks to everybody that responded there, and we'll keep on keeping on. We'll keep Sarah's memory, and we'll talk it out here. So thanks everybody. Hope you're having a good day here. Hey, I got some work done this morning. I accomplished some of my goals. We got moved the ball forward. That's, at least this trip made some progress. So I'm going to try to catch the Amtrak tonight I get a sleeping car, so I'll be able to sleep a little bit on the train, and then like early in the morning, I'll probably be on TikTok, try to keep my battery charged. And I just want to walk through. I haven't been to Washington, D.C. myself since I was a teenager. We went there on a church, like a high school trip, but it was with my local church youth group. We went to Washington, D.C. So I want to see what's new. They have a lot of new museums there at the Smithsonian. Maybe we'll see. I want to go through the World War II memorial there by the Washington Monument. My only goal is to go to the train station, walk out, see the Capitol. Maybe we'll see some of the buildings along the mall there, the Smithsonian. Maybe get a glimpse of the White House and the Washington Monument, and make it to the Lincoln Memorial, and then we'll reverse it. I'll only be there for like the day. I'm going to catch the train and head back here. And so thanks for tuning in, everybody, here. And we'll go across this bridge. Yeah, nice nature walk. Thanks, Michael. Peace to Lisa. So again, Lisa, I'm trying not to divulge my itinerary because I'm paranoid. I'm probably saying too much as it is. I know you're asking good questions. I got it all worked out in my head. Don't worry about my travel itinerary. I know you just want to make conversation. I shouldn't even advertise because you know, I'm very paranoid about divulging too much information on the internet. So thanks, Lisa. You'll figure it out. And hey, we got some falling leaves here, even in North Carolina. Here, we'll go up to this big giant wall. We'll go up these stairs here. What time we got? 2:02. So I'll head back towards. We'll go back towards the same area we were at last night. There's a Lafayette statue there, and yeah, we'll get through it. We'll talk it out. Thanks, Lisa, and thanks everybody for understanding. And yeah, we'll make this about Sarah and dedicate it to her. And thanks to all my other moderators. And yeah, thanks, Lambie T. Hopefully we'll get to see some good stuff here. You went to DC in high school in the 90s. Hey, thanks, Shannon. That's great. Well, maybe you'll be able to help out there. And yeah, I saw your question there, Lisa. Yeah, I'll fly back to Chicago. I know the Amtrak goes back to Chicago. I would like to just take the Amtrak, but there's many ways to do it. And we'll get back home some way, hopefully. So now we're back at I don't know if this is the same cemetery or a different cemetery. We're on the cemetery side of Fayetteville. So here we'll walk through the cemetery and we'll find a way back to my rental car here. And death is sadly a part of life. We all go through it. We all have lost loved ones and friends, and let's look at some of the names. See how they got this family plot here. They got the smaller, nice trees. Oh no, Lisa, you're fine. Everybody's fine. Nobody's saying anything wrong. No, I'm not. I was talking. No, Lisa. It was piece of Lisa was asking, not you. We got several Lisas here. We got several Chris's. We got several Scats. I know it gets confusing. Lisa was asking about my itinerary. I just don't want to divulge that too much because it makes me nervous. Like, you know, if I miss a connection here, I'll be stuck and everybody will be laughing at me for attempting to go off the itinerary here. Callahan, Coates. Yeah, in the old Kentucky Appalachian, there was a guy, his name was Red Ned Callahan. The reason they called him Red Ned, he married a Melungeon woman, which at the time, she claimed she was full-blooded Cherokee, but she was a Melungeon, and at that time, nobody knew what Melungeons were. Melungeons do have some Native American, but they also get other stuff in them too. And he moved to eastern Kentucky, and there was at that time, the Cherokee American Wars happened after the Revolutionary War went all the way to the early 1790s. You heard of a guy named Dragon Canoe. He was a Cherokee war chief with the Chickamauga. Chickamauga were the warring faction of the Cherokees that still fought 20 years after the Revolutionary War against westward expansion by the Americas. If you haven't heard anything about history, it was purposely erased from history. And Cherokees know about it. And there was also another guy, his name was Bob Binge. Bob Binge was a mixed blood, probably a Melungeon as well, but was identified as Cherokee, spoke Cherokee, was part of the Cherokee Nation, was not a U.S. citizen, but he could pass as a white guy. So because he had that, he could easily blend in with the western frontier settlement, but he would raid the frontier settlements, including eastern Kentucky and eastern Tennessee at that time. And the people feared him. They said, be careful, Bob Binge will get you. He was like the boogeyman, you know. And all these stories about, you know, Cherokees eating babies and cats and dogs. I'm sure that, you know, Daniel Boone's son was infamously caught and tortured to death by Shawnee and perhaps Cherokee warriors in the 1760s and 1770s. And there was a infamous Cherokee chief named Doublehead, who just to do a fear tactic, he would claim he would eat people alive like the legends, but it was, no one knows if they really did it or not. It was just like fear tactics. But Red Ned Callahan, his frontier house was raided by Bob Binge, but since his wife was Melungeon, he took it easy on him. And I think he just took some of his slaves, which is, it shows you that even at that time, they brought their enslaved people with them to the frontier, because it was Kentucky. And the horrible history that we got to acknowledge, that, you know, we can't escape our past here. But I have ancestors that tell stories about the women with, you know, Charles Ingalls Wilder, the same thing. He would leave the frontier and his wife would be with the kids there for weeks at a time while he had to go to town or something or work somewhere else. And the Native Americans would show up in Laura Ingalls Wilder's mom's case. It was the Osage would show up, and since they rightly considered them trespassing on Osage land because Charles jumped the line there, the original house they built there on Kansas, you know, they would come in and just take whatever they wanted. Same thing with Bob Binge. He would raid your house and just take whatever they wanted, because they considered people to be squatting on Indian land, even though by treaty it might have been ceded and they didn't agree with the cession. Very complex, bitter history of western expansion in America, but I digress. I see a name and it triggers like memories of all my... Look, Boone. That's another variation of Daniel Boone's name, B-O-O-N-E. There's the infamous, they supposedly have a carving on a tree where Daniel Boone killed a bear, just like the song where Daniel Boone killed a bear, or Davy Crockett. They, you know, then it became Davy Crockett, but Daniel Boone killed many bears before Davy Crockett. And it was carved on a tree. They found it. It said Daniel Boone killed a bear here, 1770 something, but he spelled his name B-O-O-N. That's how Daniel Boone spelled his own last name, B-O-O-N, without a E. City of Fayetteville, Cross Creek Cemetery. How's it going, everybody? Buckingham. See these English names, just like the Buckingham Fountain. There's all the Buckinghams here. And Hughes. There are Cherokees with the last name Hughes. Why do some Cherokee mixed bloods have Hughes? They were English fur traders named Hughes. Bernard Hughes. And there are some of the mixed blood chiefs have the last name Hughes. And they went out to Oklahoma too. So some of the mixed blood Cherokee surnames are British and Scottish, like MacDonald or John Ross. At the time of the Cherokee removal, the chief of the Cherokees was John Ross, and his grandfather was a guy named MacDonald. He ran a fur trading outpost there by Chattanooga. Look, Willie Bishop's Wow. Hey, thanks for tuning in here. So now I'm lost. How did I end up in this? I got to figure out where my car's parked. I'm back over this way. I think I got to go down this street. So here we'll continue to walk through the cemetery there. Yeah, Lindsey Buckingham, Fleetwood Mac, there you go. Jebediah Springfield, yeah. That's those stories about Jebediah Springfield out west. There was a real guy named Jebediah Smith that went out west. He was with Lewis and Clark, and then he went out there on the Astoria, and he like discovered Yellowstone and all that stuff, and he lived out there. Those original mountain men were out there with all the Native Americans. They made a movie about it in the 70s, I think. Robert Redford's in it. It's called Jebediah Smith, and he had a Native American wife that was killed by other Native Americans. It was horrible. Stuff like that would go on. Adams. Yeah, I gotta head over this way. There's motorcycles here. So I'm gonna go back to work after this and try to get some work done. I appreciate people for checking in. I just wanted to touch base with everybody about the sad news we learned today, and it's too late. It happened 2 weeks ago. I'm ashamed that I didn't know about it sooner. My good friend, and I'm deeply, eternally grateful to Sarah and her family, and I'll continue to donate to her cause on the wildlife refuge there in Africa that she was so much a part of. She liked watching the lions there. Sarah loved animals, was always kind to animals. She would end the live. She'd say, always be a lot kind to animals. And the great Sarah Harwood there. So I need to head this way because, yeah, we walked on the other side of that. I'll head across this bridge here. Hollingsworth. See, there was Collinsworth and Hollingsworth. There was Melungeons with Hollingsworth too. It's amazing how these English surnames like Gibson, Collins, Collinsworth, Hollingsworth, these surnames survive, and they go back to the original English settlers from way back. Beasley, you know. And so just because someone has that surname doesn't mean that they're just related to people that might have Melungeon ancestry, which is way back in America. Here's another Buckingham. Look at these old gravestones here. Here, if you just joined, we're in Fayetteville, North Carolina, walking through a cemetery here. Thanks for being a part here. Monaghan, Bowles, William A. Bowles, just like John Bowles. William A. Bowles, look at that. Confederate veteran. Isn't that amazing? So we are in North Carolina. Wow. Slater. Drake. Yeah, Sir Francis Drake. William Raleigh, all these. Drake, Sir Francis Drake was a pirate, and he was also knighted by Queen Elizabeth. And this is not Sir Francis Drake, but this might be one of his descendants. Holiday, Grover C. Holiday, a Patriot Indian. Look, a Patriot Indian. Does that mean this guy was part Native American? It says a Patriot Indian. I don't know. See, I mean, so I can't get out here. I'm fenced in. I'm fenced in. I can't get out. I'm stuck. Here, let's walk over this way. Let's see if we can connect back with this path. This might be our fastest way out of here, and then I'll lead me right back to the car. I should have just stayed on the path, but I wanted to check out this cemetery. Yeah, there's a car over there. So we'll find a way to get back to the path here. Yeah, Sarah means princess. That's thanks Michael there, D. Michael. Oh, I'm emotional too. May, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, sorry, May, to break the news. I know you connected with Sarah, and May, thanks for tuning in and being part of the Lunch Bunch here. We got a nice community. You motivate me along with others to keep this thing going here. So I need to find a way to get back on the other side of this Department of Public Works here, and then we'll head back to the car here. Cane, Raising Canes, done. Yeah. Yeah, is there a reason I should go left? Is there something interesting over there? You know, I'm trying to get back to my car here, so I want to go back this way. I want to go to the right. I don't, it's always confusing to me when people are just like, go left. I'm like, give me a reason to go left. You know, what am I, a horse? You're pulling on the reins there. You tell me, I know there's a reason, and I just want to, maybe I missed it here. Yeah, people are dying to get in. Yeah, that's me. I'm trying to get out. There, Monroe, there, look at that. Mariah there. Well, it's like, okay, so Conrad, the nice guy that gave me the piece of cake, that whole thing started. Again, I was confused. So I was live streaming on Milwaukee Avenue. I saw this comment, and I didn't know Conrad, you know, until I met him there. He was watching for a long time, but gets, you know, I can't keep track of 65,000 people. I just can't. And I think he or somebody else was like, go to the Levi's store. I'm like, why should I go to Levi's store? But what he meant was, if you go to Levi's store, I'll give you a piece of cake because I'm a loyal follower and I want to meet you. But he didn't say that. He said, he goes, go to Levi's store. And I'm like, why should I go to the Levi's store? You know, and I was trying to, but then he met me on the street and then it all made sense. But until that, I had no idea why someone wanted me to go. And just like with you said, go left. I'm sure there's a reason. And I just want to know what the reason is. Thanks for tuning in there. That'll take me to Ann Street. Okay, thank you. Oh, you were trying to help me to get out of the cemetery. I appreciate that. Yeah, you're probably right. That would, if I would have went left, it would have took me to Ann Street. I could have got it with the fence. I'm going to get back to this path. I'll be able to get on this path, and this path will lead me right back to my car. So I appreciate that. You were just trying to help me out. That's why I suspected. Thanks so much for helping me out. You were just trying to give me good directions, and I appreciate that. That's good. Thank you. Thanks for helping me out here. Look at the, see, I got one of those brains. I've been cursed with one of those brains that if somebody goes up and gives me a $10 bill, I obsess over, why did they give me a $10 bill? There must be an ulterior motive. It's too good to be true. Is it a setup? Am I being tracked? Am I on candid camera? Like, my mind goes to like the worst case scenarios because I guess I'm a pessimist. But this is the path we were on. I should have just stayed on this path, but we got to see some of that cemetery, which is nice. There, see, we're way back above the creek here. There's a big retaining wall here. And we're on this nature path here, mourning the loss of our dear friend Sarah. And our condolences go out to her son and any other remaining family. And I know she had a roommate, and a lot of people don't know or didn't know, or you know, how would you know? I don't want to divulge it. I want to respect yours and hers and everybody else's privacy. I didn't realize it either. One time Sarah was great. Sometimes she would, you know, set me straight. I would be complaining about like some troll or why is it so hard to be a live streamer? She's like, what's your problem? She goes, I'm on a wheelchair, you can walk. And I was like, you're right. Why am I complaining? I get to walk around Chicago. Anything I complain about pales in comparison, especially now with what Sarah was dealing with. And Sarah, you know, other people tune in, have mobility issues. I get to be your eyes and ears on the street. It serves a purpose. And I realize we got a community here. Every decision I make affects other people. And if I, you know, suddenly decide to go off on a tantrum or end a live or get overwhelmed, I need to simmer down and just calm down, keep on going. We'll get through it. It's like this. It feels really warm today. Feels like 80 degrees. Yeah, I need it. I need that balance in my life, so I need to rely on all of you. You guys are going to have to keep me straight here and be my inner Sarah here and be like, Brian, you're going off the handle here, calm down. You know, I don't have the benefit of a significant other in my life, and you know, that's okay. You know, positive, negatives, everything. You know, if I really wanted to settle down, I could do it. You know, I enjoy being single. I'm not complaining about that at all. That's the life I've chosen for myself. Just like Emily Dickinson, the path less traveled, sometimes it makes all the difference. You know, positive, negatives, everything. There's a lot of positives that being in a serious relationship, being married, having family, but there's also responsibilities, and sometimes there's negatives if it goes bad. You know, so many people start out with good intentions and it goes any number of ways. You know, we got to remember Demishi's wife is dealing with a health setback. I know Demishi hasn't been able to live stream as much lately because he's helping out his wife. His wife has, you know, I'll let him talk about it. I don't want to, again, I got to be really careful. Other people don't want me to divulge stuff. And other people are dealing with issues too. Other people that tune in, you're dealing with your own health issues. You've lost loved ones too. And we all go through this. Look at this beautiful, we go underneath the bridge here. Total freedom. I saw that. D. Michael, that's great. Total freedom. There you go. Yeah, so here we'll head back to this park where we started. I see the church there. So now, see, I was confused. I thought there's another cemetery here. We were in a larger cemetery. There's a smaller cemetery. I think that's where we caught this path. And thanks for trying to help me out with go left before. Now I understand what was going on. Now it makes perfect sense. Why can't I get it the first time? My brain works in mysterious ways here. Yeah, thanks Lambie T. Thanks for being part of the live there. Everybody else, John James, Michael and Anna Marie. Thanks everybody, Chris and Carla and Denise. Thanks for being here, Anna Marie. I know not everybody knew Sarah Nelios, but I think most of you did. Naya, Angel, Patrick. Yeah, we'll remember Sarah. Here, Harry Shaw, Cross Creek. The Harry Shaw Cross Creek Linear Park, our pathway to the future. That's what we're on here. That's what we took right here in Fayetteville. What a nice park. See, we'll head right back out to the street here, and we'll head over to the car here. See, there's another cemetery. I think we can get out over that way. Wow, look at this mausoleum. There's a big mausoleum here, but look at some of the gated, older gravestones here. Fayetteville, North Carolina. Oh, yeah, Sarah was very sweet. Sarah was great. And kind of people, kind of animals here. Died in Florida. 1861. Wow. Look at this mausoleum. This is in the cemetery here. They got little ones on the side here. See, another Boone. B-O-O-N. Born in Fayetteville, 1841. Boone. B-O-O-N-E. Reverend William English Boone. Spelled so. Daniel Boone was born in Pennsylvania. They came to the hinterland of North Carolina. They lived in the Rowan province there. It was called the Yadkin River settlements. They moved to the Yadkin River settlements on the Yadkin River in North Carolina in the 1760s. He grew up there with his father, moved there. Then when he got older and got married, or 1750s, I think he grew up in the 1750s, Daniel Boone. And then in the 1760s when he was married, they looked at Florida. They went to like the Pensacola area of Florida. They didn't like it. And he came back, and then he started doing long hunts into Kentucky and Tennessee, and discovered that there was this huge, sparsely populated area that was rich with game and timber. And it's because the Shawnee and the Cherokees used it as hunting grounds because they had been forced out by the Iroquois 100 years before. And it was sparsely populated. A lot of Native Americans died of European diseases by then, so it wasn't as densely populated. And the European settlers seized upon that, would poach and hunt the land there, even though by treaty, it was before the Revolutionary War, it still belonged by treaty to the indigenous tribes that had treaties with the British Empire. At the same time the Revolutionary War was being fought, Daniel Boone, there was a illegal, not recognized by the British or the American, land transfer deal with this guy called Henderson, which you heard of Transylvania University in Lexington, Kentucky. It was called the Transylvania Purchase. It was like Pennsylvania, Transylvania. And in America, yeah, I know, Dracula. And they purchased from the Cherokees a large area of land in between the Kentucky River and I think the Cumberland River. And the Shawnee never recognized the land deal. The Shawnee said, we don't recognize this land transfer. We still claim that land as our hunting grounds. And that's where Daniel Boone went to Boonesboro in 1775, blazed the trail, brought some European settlers with him, and for 20 years they fought with the Shawnee to defend the area around south of Lexington, Kentucky, which became Kentucky. And so in the Revolutionary War, Daniel Boone with his family on their own were fighting the Shawnee, and they didn't realize who was going to win the Revolutionary War. If the British won, they were going to stay out there and live with the Indians. And that's why they were out there. They were trying to get away from the British Empire in a different way. And so since the Americans won the Revolutionary War and the Cherokees were allied with the British, the Cherokees lost, and they had to renegotiate all their treaties with the Americas, and they lost land as a result of that. And so did the Creeks. And so did the Shawnee. The Shawnee had it worse. And Cross Creek Cemetery, Confederate battlegrounds here. So we'll lay off of that. I want to show it. I don't want to gloss over Confederate American history and American history of the Union. It's just on social media, you know, I'll get a bunch of why you showing Confederate graves, and I'm like, this is part of America, and I'm walking through Fayetteville. Here's, and I'll point out Union, and we talked about Sherman's battle here in 1865 on his march to meet up with Grant there at Petersburg. But here at the Linear Park, the Henry F. Shaw, we checked it out here. We checked out this cemetery. Nephews Park Creek. Hey, that's great. Carla, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the Muskogee Creek. And yeah, have you ever seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? The gentleman that plays the Native American Indian in the 70s version of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson, he was Creek Indian, Native American. And one of the first times that Native Americans were more accurately portrayed in movies instead of the stereotypical Western Indians, the ones that fought with John Wayne and stuff. And there were a lot of Indians that lived in the East, including the Creeks, Cherokees, Choctaws, Chickasaws, Shawnee, Iroquois, Potawatomi around Chicago, Miami Sauk, Chippewa, which are Ojibwe, and even the Powhatans, all the eastern tribes. We talk about the ones in Massachusetts and Connecticut, go back to the Mayflower. The Tuscarora had to move from North Carolina, this area, they had to go up to the Iroquois. There were a lot of Native Americans in the East. The Seminoles still fought in Florida. Seminoles were Creek. And there was the Yamasee War. The Yamasee War affected North Carolina too, mainly affected South Carolina. Have you ever heard the Yamasee War? Was a major war where the South Carolina colony was almost destroyed, and we don't even talk about it, you know. And I had to learn all this the hard way. But hey, thanks for tuning in here. That's why I talk about it so much. Native American history is American history too. And so much of it was left out, just like African American history. read that book, Before the Mayflower. So much of African American history was left out of American history too, and we're making up for it. But here's where we started. Thanks for tuning in here, the Lunch Bunch. We did our best to commemorate Sarah, and we'll continue to do so. Thanks to everybody that kind words in the memorial there. Sorry to break the news, the sad news, but we'll remember Sarah and keep her memory alive, and I'll try to be a better person, just like that movie, As Good as It Gets. She made me be a better man, you know, try to, and I appreciate that. Thanks, Sarah Harwood, and hope everybody has a great day. Yeah, we'll see if I'm in Washington, D.C. tomorrow. If not, I'll let you know where I'm at if I'm somewhere else. And have a great day there, Carla and Michael and everybody else there. Yeah. Oh, Swinomish. It's part Swinomish. Swinomish. That's great. Yeah, is that Pacific Northwest? That's great. That's awesome. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in there, and thanks for your comments here. I'm going to sign off. So have a great day from Fayetteville. Rest in peace, Sarah. We'll never forget you. Have a good day, everybody. And we'll talk to you later from North Carolina. We'll see if we're in. We'll see where we're at tomorrow. Have a great day there. Yep. See you, everybody. Thanks, John James, Nelios, Taco, Mary Therese. Mary Therese, thanks so much for all your help this morning. I really appreciate it. Anna Marie, we'll talk to you later. Thanks, Chris. All right. See ya. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day.